What is up, Sinfonian League of Legends fans? It is your boy, Eric Gnarls Barkley Jescu, here with the self-proclaimed god, Greg7, Greg Adler,
What's going on, everybody?
and the Jace One Trick, Sebastian Lightpulse Alarcon. We're here.
It's a hard life for a one trick, and they keep banning it.
We're here with the Sinfonian S.E.G, where we're gonna talk to you about the patch 7.6 notes that just came out. It's a new little segment we're gonna start doing, and yeah, so I guess we just kind of roll into it. What do we got coming up first on the docket today?
Looks like
Your
we
boy
got Galio. So I can actually go into this. The Galio rework is going to be absolutely amazing when it comes to support Galios. I know Garrett is out there like creaming his fucking pants right now. So it's gonna be support role Galio. Top Galio is gonna fall by the wayside. His AP ratios aren't exactly too much to they're not gonna be enough to really words are hard. They're not gonna be enough to compete with the tanks and whatnot up in the lane, because his passive also changed as well. His Idol Duran doesn't exactly give him the more AP he has, the more magic resist he has, or something like that, or the more magic resist, something
more
like
magic
that.
resist, more AP.
Yeah, it's not that anymore. It's the little AoE proc on the basic attacks that scale with his AP, but it's not quite Idol Duran. It's really weird, but it's gonna be support Galio mainly because of the changes to his W, which is now called Idol Duran. Funnily enough, that's going to be one of the main. That's going to be one of the main topics that we're going to be talking about whenever it comes to Galio, because it actually taunts. It's like a Vlad Tides of Blood, his E, where it like charges up, and during the duration that he charges, he actually taunts people in the same radius. He has his Justice Punch, which is his E. And that's a gap closer that does not scale, so it actually goes pretty far level 1. So engages are going to be pretty easy for Galio, and it's fast. Like, the missile speed on it is quick as well. So you can essentially knock them up for the 1.5 second duration, which also doesn't scale. It's 1.5 at level 1. And then you can automatically go into your Idol Duran and start taunting. That's going to be great for like level 3 jungle ganks coming in from, you know, the top junglers right now, Graves, Vi, Hecarim. They can all really break that. They can really break those two abilities, and those are the main two abilities that I really think are going to make Galio, or that are going to give Galio his identity. His Q is really good for a slow duration, but it's sort of like a Diana. It's sort of like a Diana crescent strike, where you have to land both sides, and then if you can get the tornado to do a lot of damage, then that's fine. But like I said, it's just going to be the CC aspect from those two abilities alone. His ultimate that's going to come out is something that's going to be absolutely busted. I can almost guarantee you that it is going to be patched in 7.7, because he, for those of you who don't know, who've been living under a rock, Galio can now only target his allied champions. So now he goes up into the air and he Pantheon ults to an allied champion, which is great, don't get me wrong. But the busted thing about it is that it sort of becomes like a Shen shield, where it gives the allied all these passive armor and magic resist just by clicking on him. The Galio does not have to land in order for this person to grab all those buffs. And Shen is a shield. Shen is a shield based on his health, which is great.
I'm not sure if you can cancel the ultimate.
You can't.
You sure?
No, I don't think so.
It's a pretty quick animation. It'd be tough to cancel.
Yeah, I do not think that you can. I don't know what happens if you get
distances across the map or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that like you get all those passive buffs as soon as he clicks on you. Like, that's insane, because all you get with the Shen is a shield. You don't get any armor, or you don't get any magic resist along with the Stand United. You just get a shield based on your Shen's health.
And knocking up all enemies around you.
Yeah, exactly. which is
Yeah,
better
I
than a
don't know.
Pantheon ult.
I think Galio. I really think he's going to be a support, mainly for two reasons. Well, support to start off with in the beginning. Number one, he kind of just has a little bit of everything in his kit. He's got poke with his Q, which keep in mind it does. I was just looking at it does 9% of enemies' max health at level 1. Not including your ability power that you build. So I could honestly see him as being almost like a tanky AP support bottom lane. So like, you have the poke, you have the taunt to, basically go for kills and peel, and then you have your ultimate. It's so good. As an example, like if your AD carry gets caught out in lane, Galio can come in instantly from base. I think the reason he won't be a top laner, or maybe even a mid laner, is I think he's going to use a lot of mana. Winds of War is 70, Shield is 50, E is 30, which isn't a lot, but especially for like right now, where Rout of Ages is exactly the best meta top build right now, I think he's one of those champions that's not going to benefit from the meta Sunfire, what's it called? Sunfire,
Visage.
yeah, Visage, just Sunfire Visage build. So I think he'll be a more support just because of that. He'll be more geared towards actually benefiting from the support role.
I don't know. I think I have to disagree with both of y'all on it, and this might just be me being a top laner, but I easily see where Galio could be a very strong top lane tank option. Maybe not into carry top laners, but if I'm playing against a Nautilus or a Shen or something, Galio's got the ability to push a wave with his Q and his passive. He's got the shields. He's got CC. He's got everything that a tank would need, and I think he can be now the new answer to a Shen, where Shen's always wanted to be this champion that come 40 minutes into the game is split pushing and try to take towers and try to pressure, but then just as soon as a fight happens, pops in. And there's not really any other top laner as far as the tanks go that can really answer that type of pressure, because TP is just such a longer channel than the Shen ult. Well, now there's Galio, and the question for me is if his ult range is truly global,
It's not.
then it's not truly global.
It is global.
It's global, but it's not truly global.
It's
For instance, for instance, I'll just give you guys a. For instance, if Galio is sitting at his fountain, and he levels up his ultimate at level 1, the ultimate will only reach to the inhibitor.
Okay.
To your inhibitor?
To your inhibitor.
See, I thought it was you could just cast it to any ally at any time.
No, and it scales up. The farthest that it goes is if you're sitting at your inhibitor. If you're sitting at your fountain at level 3, the ultimate will reach first turret, or your inhibitor turret. So it's not even scaling that large.
See, that's why I think he would just be a better support then, and that's because of that. Because mainly you think about what makes a support so strong right now is being able to peel, get the engage or roam, and that ultimate, that's literally the epitome of being able to roam.
Yeah.
It could benefit you top lane having TP. You just ult somewhere and you TP back in. But I feel like support can kind of just make plays around the map a little easier with that.
And also the 9% damage over the durations and whatnot, that only happens whenever your ability combines into the big tornado. That doesn't exactly mean much, because it's not like the old style Galio wins, where it was just a straight line going forward. They have to actually meet up, and once it turns into a tornado, the missile speed decreases ever so slightly. So it's not even a guaranteed ability that you can keep on a target. I mean, unless you build like Rallies or something, but I don't know why you would on a Galio.
I guess I see where it could be used as a top laner, and for me, obviously it can be a very strong support still. I just feel like it's so, his kit is now so oriented, with the exception of his ult, around making himself tankier. Kind of almost Rammus style, where the W gives a whole lot of damage reduction. No, Rammus doesn't necessarily have the shield like Galio gets. But I see it being more his kit, with the exception of his ulti, being very much around ways to make Galio tankier. And that doesn't, for me, scream support. Support for me screams ways to make my AD carry tankier. Look at Lulu, Janna, Karma, all shields, heals, this and that. Even Braum has got his Unbreakable, which is a way to make his AD carry tankier because it soaks damage from the AD carry. There's not really any way for Galio to do that until level 6. And I just feel like it's going to be, if you play a Galio support, it's going to be pressured too early, too hard, and it won't be able to answer back with enough. That's just my opinion, though.
Yeah, and I kind of see where you're going with that, but what you're also missing out on here is Courage of the Colossus. Courage of the Colossus is still, I mean, it's it's pretty much busted, minus minus like 2 champions that don't use it, which is Cho'Gath and Scion, because they use the 5% off the new stone cutters. But in any case, Courage of the Colossus, you're getting shields in the bottom lane for 2 champions already with an E that automatically knocks up. Like,
you don't get a shield for your ally off of Courage of the Colossus.
No, not ally. You're getting 2 shields because you're in the bot lane.
Let's keep it here on the Galio talk.
Yeah.
Let's finish up our statements here on the Galio.
Well, that is talking about the Galio support. That's 2 shields. That's 2.
Yeah, but why would you go Colossus when you can go Stoneborn, which is better right now?
That is the one thing I didn't account for, was that if Galio does go Stone Bond Pact, it does give him that way to effectively make his AD carry tankier.
Yeah, because it gives him free.
So I guess so I didn't completely think of that, but I just in my opinion at that point, why would you play Galio when you could play Braum?
Well, I guess we'll just have to see where the meta goes on this one. I just think that he's a really, really good support laner, and that, I guess that's the end of my statement.
Fair enough.
All right. So moving on now, Eric, this is all you, man.
Oh yeah. My dude. And actually, it's my dude and then my second dude. That's a weird sentence. I should never say that again. Aatrox. Kind of cool seeing him in the patch notes for a second time in the last, 2 years. I still don't think this is enough.
What is it?
But I'm getting there. It's all kind of tooled around his passive. At least the changes that are coming live to on the 22nd. First off, probably the most important thing, the passive has been changed. The name was Blood Rush, which just so happens to be Draven's W. It's actually going to be changed to Hellbent now, which I kind of like. I think that's really cool. I think it's a really badass name for it. The 2 biggest things, though, and I think these are actually really nice kind of quality of life adjustments. Once Aatrox gets his revive, so he's got his passive full, he's going ham in battle, he dies. But he's got his passive GA. Once he respawns, revives, I guess is the right word. He's got his full Bloodwell, so he doesn't lose his attack speed. He doesn't lose the Hellbent passive at that point. That's Aatrox players have been complaining for years that when you revive, you should have a full passive bar because it's too hard to get it back up in the middle of battle. So Riot's listening a little bit. The other thing, kind of nice little quality of life adjustment. If you have like 2 hits for your W passive, so Blood Price or Blood Thirst, whichever one you're going with, if you have two auto attacks active and your next one will be the Empowered Auto, dying and reviving, you still keep on the Empowered Auto. You don't have to give 2 more auto attacks to then get it. There were also some changes in the middle of patch 7.5 that went live. An increase to his base health, cooldown reduction on his Q, his Dark Flight, and an increased damage on Blood Price, which is his damaging W. So those went live. Those aren't anything new. Biggest change, though, keeps his full Bloodwell upon revival, and no longer loses his 3rd hit. So kind of nice. Not enough yet, still, but
yeah,
it's Aatrox. Yeah. The only thing that will be enough is a full-scale rework.
Yeah, I have to agree. It's just not enough to get him into lane, because now it's sort of like it's not even like Tryndamere anymore, where you can just press a button and you automatically have an ability set up. You have to have the entire Bloodwell completely filled in order for you to revive, and that's so situational. It's just not. I wouldn't say it's not viable, but in the current meta right now, I mean, who has enough time to auto attack minions until they get the full Bloodwell and then go in for an engage? It's not even auto attacking minions, it's you gotta land abilities. That's the crazy part. Like, auto attacking does nothing for it, really. Yeah, it's kind of like Gnar, honestly. It's like trying to get your Meganar up, and it's
Mhm.
just it's just really hard right now.
Yep.
It's hard right now for a top laner, but yeah, hopefully Aatrox rework comes through and it's not busted, but it's something
Yo,
that Aatrox players can actually use.
I'd be okay if it was busted.
I would not.
That's just me.
I would auto ban it every single time.
All right,
Sweet.
so there's moving on. My other dude, as was alluded to, Cho'Gath, one of my favorite champions right now. His little mini rework that happened. What was that? 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago? Whatever long it was ago.
I think it was 2 weeks ago.
I loved that update, and it's been a lot of fun to play Cho'Gath. And then it's getting buffed. Yeah. 2 little buffs to his ulti at this point. He's actually going to be gaining extra health per stack.
That's so nice.
No extra health at level 1 in his ultimate. 10 extra health per stack at level 2, and 20 extra health at level 3. So effectively now, if you're like a 10 stack Cho'Gath, you're getting 200 more health free. More health, less problems. And the really nice thing, I think this one's actually going to be a really underrated change on it, but you can now stack on 6 minions or small monsters as opposed to just 5. Not that 5 was like unmanageable, but it really helps, especially for those games where Cho'Gath gets behind. I've played a couple of those lately where I was playing really hard. The only things I could imagine getting feast stacks off of are minions. And if you only get 5 of those, it just makes it so hard to get to that point that Cho'Gath players want to get to where they're as big as mid lane, So now you get 6 stacks off of minions or small monsters. I think it's a really nice change. Hopefully it doesn't break Cho'Gath and make him like 100% banned, because I really like playing him, but we'll see.
I don't know. I mean, there's some really there's some crispy changes, but like I don't know. If people weren't banning Cho'Gath now, what exactly here is like, oh my god, this is broken now, and
Right.
that doesn't really like jump out at me. Maybe at first,
Mhm.
maybe I haven't played against like a really really fed stacked Cho'Gath for me to be able to say that, oh my god, this is like so stupid to play against. Like, why is this a thing? But I don't know. Right now, it just really doesn't jump out. I mean, they're nice changes. Don't get me wrong. They're needed. And if they really want to make Cho'Gath meta, then yes, absolutely, they're needed. But I mean, it just really doesn't jump out at me right now.
Cool. Moving on.
Fiddlesticks.
Your boy Fiddlesticks.
All right.
This is actually awesome. I'm very happy about this one. So they increased the range of his fear. Great for ganking. Pretty essential to his kit. And then for the drain, if drain's target dies before the channel completes, the remaining duration is applied as cooldown reduction. So basically saying if you're using your W on something, like on Gromp or something, and you kill it before your drain is done, you get it back. So that's pretty awesome. That helps a lot. I think the biggest thing this really helps is just overall getting Fiddle to be more relevant in the jungle. Right now, the meta in jungle revolves around high damage champions that can clear well. And so Fiddle kind of lacks in like the damage area and the ability to clear well. He's kind of like B tier. So as an example, to compare him to someone right now, Graves is someone that is extremely good in the jungle meta. He can gank early on, he brings a lot of damage, and he can farm very easily. So he'd be like a high tier character. But Fiddlesticks, he can kind of clear jungle, like he can, just sustain for a while, but he can't hit more than one target after his E. And then damage, he has to have his ultimate, unless obviously he gets an early gank and it gets him caught. But for the most part, he has to have his ultimate to do his damage. So I think it's just kind of trying to get him to that point where he's a little bit better. I don't think it's going to make him meta, but I think it helps him a lot in the jungle. It helps him gank and it helps him clear, which is what's really good right now.
Yeah. I know a lot of there was a board, whatever. Words are hard. On the League of Legends boards, there was like a post one time about the new jungle has ruined Fiddlesticks because it's so impossible to do Krugs and it's so impossible to do Raptors. And I think the giving the drain cooldown back a little bit, that's actually a really big help and answers a lot of complaints. I think this patch for me is a lot of Riot listening to complaints that people have actually made about the way some champions are interacting with Season 7 and have actually found ways to maybe make changes for that without breaking the game for that champion. So that's kind of nice to see.
Yeah. Also, I actually, upon reading these patch notes, I actually went to Reddit to get like the general community's consensus on this change, because a Fiddlesticks change is always like, holy shit, like it's scary because it's either really really good or it's just okay, it's whatever. But there's actually some murmurs of this actually helping out middle sticks.
Oh.
Because now, it says whenever a target dies, not a small monster. Gosh. So that applies to minions.
Middle sticks in the semis, let's go.
That applies to minions. So, would that... I mean, I'm not a mid laner, but Greg, how would that affect how would that affect the mid lane when it comes to Fiddlesticks?
I still think it'll be pretty shitty because he's what's I mean that's cool. I didn't think about that. I mean, I'm definitely gonna play it, but I just he brings the fear that like he puts his W on you, but then you just walk away. Whereas like put Fiddlesticks up against a Zed and let me know. Well, I guess you could fear him away, but like against a lot of assassins, against a lot of even like long range casters like Lux and stuff. But actually, he might actually not be horrible against assassins. I mean,
right, because just save silence.
Yeah, you could just always terrify them away. But no, I think it'll be fun. I just don't think it'll be like crazy meta.
Well, cool.
X and semis.
So we went from my dude to my other dude, now to the real dude. And
you got two guys on the side. Is that it?
This is a really weird video. But I mean, when all my main champs are men, it happens. Anyway, Gnar is in patch notes. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm happy because it's Gnar. It's not a huge buff. It's not even necessarily, if you look at it, looking like a buff. The change that was made was that his health regen before in his mini form was 2.5 per 5 seconds, and in his mega form was 6.5 per 5 seconds. Those have actually been evened out to become the same, including actually the health regen gross stats. So that's how much you gain per level. Those are now both going to be the same as well, I think.
Yes.
Well, I mean. I'm sorry, keep going, Eric.
No, you're fine. And while a lot of people might look at that at the surface and be like, well, that's not necessarily a buff or a nerf, it's just kind of evening it out. Even if a Gnar's ahead, he has more accessibility to auto attack, more accessibility to quickly get into his mega form, which is going to put him into his mega form a lot earlier, going to help out for team fighting and whatnot. If a Gnar's behind, it's a lot harder to find those rooms to auto attack because you're not going to be auto attacking enemy champions that much, because if you do, you lose the trade, you die. And it's going to be a lot harder for Gnar to contest the minion wave, which means less auto attacking on minions because you got to farm under tower, which requires the right coordination on that. And so, in my opinion, it really just helps out if Gnar's in a losing lane. Say Jace, for example. If Gnar's in a losing lane, it's not a fun lane for Gnar to play that because you just got to farm under tower and try and avoid as much poke as he can. He's not really ever going to get mega that often in the lane phase. So you're going to be mini more often. You're going to have better sustain when you're in mini form. That's always been the biggest weakness of Gnar, in my opinion. Especially when he's mini, he just has no sustain. There's nothing really built into his kit. I was running Warlord's Bloodlust on him for a heavy majority of Season 6, or the end of Season 6, just because there was nothing else that Gnar could sustain with. And now that his health regen when he's mini has gone up, it'll actually almost incentivize Gnar players instead of feeling like they have to just rush mega, because when you go mega, your base health increases, but then when you go back to mini, you keep the same health. So it's effectively you're gaining health back by going into mega form. Ultimately, I think it's going to help his lane out a little bit. It's not the end all. I still think Gnar's going to be weak compared to a lot of top laners. Same idea with Aatrox. When we talked about that, it takes too much for Gnar to get to the point where he's ready to fight. But it'll certainly help, and if you're good enough at Gnar, I think this can help you make him viable, at least in solo queue. The other change that I think is kind of cool, I've always thought it'd be cool to have is that when you're transforming from mini to mega and you use your E to hop onto something, you hop and then into your crunch. So you hop as mini Gnar, you fall to the ground as mega Gnar. You can actually now cast a spell while you're in the air, essentially. So it can get you some really cool engage opportunities if you can like fling people back into a wall with your ult or something, or just hit your stun. I think that'll be a cool thing to play around with and see what you can do with it.
You could also hit your Q for like the last little bit of damage if you win the trade.
Exactly. There's a lot of things you could do with that. I'm excited. Anytime Gnar's getting buffed, I'm happy, but
yeah, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. Yeah,
it might be enough for me. We'll see. I'll take it into some games.
It's nice though.
Yeah, it's definitely a step in the right direction when it comes to Gnar.
Cool beans.
All right, sweet. So Misfortune. All right, so in the video that will never be put out because of certain reasons, we talked about how Misfortune. They legitimately just killed Misfortune because they hit Deathfire Touch with AD. They hit her double up. They hit lethality as well. Like all these three changes just destroyed Misfortune. And I mean, it's carried into solo queue and team play because I don't see any Misfortunes anymore. Everyone's playing Lucian, Jhin, and Varus now.
And Ashe still.
And Ashe, yeah. You see a little bit of Ezreal. But Misfortune has pretty much just dropped off the map because people are like, what the fuck do I build on her? Do I build Crit? Well, Crit's garbage, so I'm not going to do that. And they just completely dropped Misfortune. And we talked about that. We talked about how it's just they're legitimately just destroying Misfortune. And now we see here that it's like, all right, look, we messed up. We're sorry. We'll give you back your damage, your base damage on the double up, which I think is good. And then they gave back the ratio as well. So Riot really took to the community and they looked and they're like, oh, we don't want to do this anymore. And I think that's a great step. That's a great step for Riot in saying, okay, we destroyed a champion, but you know what? We don't want to destroy a champion. Let's bring her back a little bit. So these are the changes that should have happened last time. In retrospect, and I'm glad, and like I said, I'm glad that Riot's doing that, and they're looking at it, and they're taking responsibility for it, which is something that they've never done before in the past. Whenever they kill champions, they're just like, all right, well, we're just gonna leave them in the dust because they're too broken, or they should have never existed.
Like Aatrox,
Corki, you know, the run of the mill, you know, Shyvana, just. I'm really glad they're not changing champions. They fucked up on them, and they're like, all right, well, we're just gonna keep moving on, or nerf whoever it is that counters her, you know. So I'm really glad they did that. So they brought back her damage on her double up. I believe this is her second proc whenever she hits a minion, and then she actually hits an enemy champion. So I believe that the base damage whenever you on the initial Q is still the same from the previous patch, but the double up damage has been changed to where it has a little bit more impact. And other than that, and the two little animation dealies here, hair trigger, no longer briefly pauses when they're casting the double up or whenever they're casting Make It Rain. Nothing really substantial, just little tweaks and everything. And actually, a lot of good Misfortunes could actually use that to their advantage, to where they can still keep the stutter step, but they don't have to if they're trying to get away or they're trying to kite or just general positioning issues. So I think that was really needed because it never had a cast time, which I thought was really, really weird. So I was like,
ready for more Misfortune supports.
Yeah, basically.
One of the things that I actually really like on it is the one part that you didn't say anything about, where the cast range on her double up now adjusts based on Misfortune's attack range. Where like if you have rapid fire cannon and you pop your Q on a minion, it'll actually the bounce will travel farther. I think it's really cool. While some people will say that the double up already travels far enough. In team fights, in the team fight setting, or like in late game when you're trying to find picks, it's actually really hard to find a good opportunity for Misfortune to step up to a wave, cast her Q, and have it hit an enemy without it putting her in danger. So I think that's a really cool change.
Eric, I don't think the range afterwards is increased. I think it's just the initial cast.
The initial range, yeah.
Still, I guess
Still
I
helps.
can understand that.
Yeah.
It still helps. But I guess you're right. I had that slightly wrong. But
I get what you're saying, though. I mean, it'll be
yeah,
nice,
yeah, I see what you're
especially
saying now.
because lethality is not an AD carry plausible build now. You know, it's all about
Right.
the crit. So they're trying to get crit misfortune back. So I like it.
Yeah.
Same.
And I can attest, I played a Misfortune game right after 7.5 hit. I got fed as hell in the lane phase, and then I dealt no damage in the late game. So, yeah.
But yeah,
Alright.
good job, Riot.
Yeah. So moving on now, we got an Oriana change.
Your boy. Well, your girl.
It's
actually.
nothing crazy, but I love this change. This is very, very good. So if an ally dies while holding the ball, it now drops in place rather than returning to Oriana. So that's nice for when you put the ball on Sebastian, he jumps in and dies like an idiot, and then you can still get the 5-man ulti that your team deserves. But yeah, I mean that really does help. It's not obviously not a huge buff, but I mean it helps a lot for team fights when you're like, oh, so look at this sweet play I'm gonna make, and then you all put the balls on top of you and people think you're an idiot.
Well, actually, and it's also positioning as well. I heard Froggen talking a little bit about this change as well, and he was saying how if one of your teammates, if you're getting chased down the lane and one of your teammates is just absolutely dead, you can just ball them and then hit the W to get the slow, even after they die, off of an ignite or something like that. Like once they're really far past the lane, you can actually still keep the CC up and actually kite a lot better with that. Because of this new change. So I think that's pretty cool. It's not just the 5-man Oriana ult.
That's cool.
Did this change come about because of the Oriana bug that they had in EULCS,
Probably.
where they had to Oriana couldn't be played for the rest of week 7, I think it was. They were saying they're having an issue seeing the ball. And I'm not sure if that had something to do with it, where somebody would die and then they wouldn't know where the ball would go. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
I'm not sure.
Possibly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, because it's an Oriana can actually trick someone up with that really, really easily, especially in the pro level. Because you can imagine you can shield someone and then that person dies, but right before they die, you can command move it, so it stays in that same position, and then you can ulti, and everyone's just like, wait, the target died. I thought the ball went back to Oriana. So
right.
I think at a pro level it's a lot more substantial. But yeah, I think you're right actually.
Cool. Sweet.
All right. Quinn change. So Dylan is off somewhere fapping himself to sleep with this change because holy shit, the bonus attack speed with heightened senses is insane. They're doubling
I'm
it.
Perplexed at that.
They're doubling it. I mean, that's so insane. Because you have to imagine, okay, Quinn has a lot of burst damage. I understand that, and most of it comes from behind enemy lines. Again, I understand, but that's still so much damage. It's not even the Sky Strike that deals a lot of damage, and that's the one that got nerfed. But the new heightened senses and whatnot. I mean, now, honestly speaking, Quinn can build Rapid Fire. Quinn can build Shiv and Yomu's.
Some Quinn's already built Shiv.
You can still build Yomu's as well for more attack speed. That's gonna get absolutely ridiculous in extended team fights, especially if you can kite well.
Speed.
Huh?
Yomu's doesn't give attack speed.
Yeah, Sebastian.
It gives movement speed.
Oh, you were talking move speed.
Yeah, that's what for the positioning
attack
aspect.
speed. I'm sorry, I got you. Okay.
Well,
Okay.
In any case,
we're good.
The movement speed aspect of Yomu's is what I was talking about for the kite ability.
Mm-hmm.
So on extended team fights, that's going to become insane in the late game. And then if you build that with a little bit of armored shred from Lord Dominic's, I can't imagine it, dude. And then the little what's it called? Greg thought this was that this was busted, because he thought that any time that Quinn backed, she automatically got behind enemy lines.
This literally never happened, but alright.
Oh, okay, alright, that's fine. But no,
I guess.
This sounds like something Greg would do.
But no, in reality, now what happens is that whenever Quinn originally dies, she comes back already in Valor form. So that's a pretty cool thing, especially like late in the game when your base is falling and you're automatically Valor Form, so you can just like zoom the fuck out of there.
Yup.
I think that's a pretty cool change, to be completely honest. But the heightened senses is just,
I don't know. I don't mind the change. I think one of my biggest issues with Quinn is that she's always felt like more of an assassin than a marksman. It's always felt like Quinn's just gonna go run onto RD carry and kill her before we can catch her. I think this more. I'm not sure if it will, but I think the idea behind it is to shift Quinn away from just being that assassin and being more of a DPS, auto attack you down type of champion. It'll still have the ability to get onto the back line, but it won't necessarily be a straight up 100-0, barring Quinn being fed to oblivion, of course.
well, yeah, that's with any champion.
Right. I kind of like that change. I've always thought Quinn's play pattern was just ridiculously stupid. Why should an AD carry with ranged auto attacks get to dive onto my AD carry, be faster than anything so we can't peel it, and 100-0 them before my AD carry can attack twice? I've always thought that was a little bit nonsensical, so I'm okay with the change, to be honest. I made it up!
But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited for these Quinn changes. I'm not going to be excited to see her in the top lane, but, you know, we'll see.
Nobody's ever excited to see Quinn in the top lane.
I mean,
No one's ever excited to see Quinn.
Unless they are playing Quinn in the top lane.
I mean, Vladimir does really good against Quinn, but that's besides the point. In any case.
Alright, next up, your boy Varus. Why do we keep saying your boy? We should just name this segment
Ya
Ya
boy.
boy. Ya boys.
Your boys.
Tell me about that 7.5 Varus against Aurelia, Greg.
God, Flash crushed me.
Okay.
Shit on.
So now, this is a nerf actually to Varus.
I don't think it is.
Well, it doesn't
How
scale
is it
down
not a
anymore.
No, it's you get. I'll let you explain it, and then I'll explain why I don't think it's a nerf.
Go ahead.
Okay, so from what I understand, apparently, what used to happen is that whenever you get the blight stacks on your target, and then you hit the piercing arrow, you would get a base 4 seconds, and then it scales down with the cooldown reduction. So, say for instance, you get 4 blight stacks, and then you hit the piercing arrow. And then say you have 20%, cooldown reduction. So you get those base 4 seconds plus the percentage of whatever you had in the cooldown reduction department. And that was just causing a lot of problems in the bot lane because you can actually hit that off of minions. You can get the blight stacks off of the minions and then hit the Q. Granted, the piercing arrow doesn't do as much damage, but it's up a lot more often because of that. And then plus you had the scaling... the scaling cooldown reduction as well, so that just made it like, the piercing arrow doesn't do as much damage, it doesn't hurt as much, but there's a lot more of them coming out. And again, that was what Riot was kind of like trying to stem away from, was that like they don't want Varus to just be that long range poke champion that's like oppressive in lane. So that's what I understand. I don't know where you're coming from.
I think I know the difference. So, level 1. Piercing arrow's cooldown is 16 seconds. Yes? I believe that's what it is. If not, we're going to pretend like it's 16 seconds.
Okay.
When you get the cooldown on detonating your blight with your Q, it's a 12-second cooldown because you get 4 seconds back. Let's say at level 1 you have 5% CDR. So your cooldown for your Q is like say 15.4 seconds or whatever the heck it would be. The math's not important. And you pop your Q with the detonated blight stack. If it's just the 4 seconds, which is what it's changing to, your cooldown to that now goes to 11.5 or whatever the numbers were. So a little under 12. The way it was before, you were refunded a portion of the 4 seconds based on how much CDR you have. So your cooldown on your bladed arrow, if you don't detonate a stack, would always be lower based on CDR. If you have like, say, full 40% CDR, say I think it's like 8 seconds cooldown at rank 5, so you'll be sitting at like a 5-second cooldown on your piercing arrow.
What are you talking about?
Follow me. Follow me. Okay. This is obviously not helping.
I just think it's a nerf. I'm sorry, friends. I don't possibly see how this could be a buff.
Well, because when it says scaling down with cooldown reduction, it's like you're losing part of the cooldown refund. It's not like when you get more CDR, you get 4.5 seconds return. You get 3.5 seconds return, and then you get 3 seconds return based on how much CDR you have, because it won't ever.
But like if you have blight procs on someone and you get your Q, it would be less time than 4 seconds. Now it's never that.
No.
Because if you have like 40% CDR,
No, I see what he's saying. Okay.
and you detonate your blight stack with a Q, you don't, and you have 40% CDR, you don't get a full 4 seconds back. You might get 2.5 seconds back.
Yeah, Greg. Okay, so
you're saying CDR
I messed up. No, because the way that it used to be was that it capped at 4 seconds. It was 1 to 4, but it capped at 4 seconds. Now it's
and it
just
was
4 seconds.
inversely correlating to your CDR.
Yeah,
so
it was
if you had 0 CDR, you got
anti-cooldown.
4 seconds back.
Yeah, it was
And if you had-
anti-cooldown.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was anti-cooldown.
And now it's 4 seconds, no matter what your CDR is.
Okay. I still think it's a nerf, but I get you.
What?
No, it's a buff at that point.
It's a buff for a CDR build because then you get more arrows, dude.
Yeah, but that's not what the build is right now for
That's
Varus.
true, actually.
If you're going CD,
What CDR items are you building on him?
Essence Reaver,
Go on.
Essence Reaver is the only CDR item you need if you're going
that's
Essence Reaver crit build.
But that's
You got Essence Reaver,
the point,
Hurricane.
is the meta right now is all about crit. I'm telling
But
crit
Essence
build
Reaver
is
goes
like,
with the crit build.
Yeah,
Essence
I-
Reaver
no, but
when does Essence Reaver go
Hello?
on the crit build?
the meta
Hello?
build right now. Look, the meta build right now is going to be Runon's Hurricane, especially because now they're emphasizing on
Runon's
crit.
into IE.
Yeah,
That's
Runon's IE into rapid fire cannon. When are you going to have enough time to build an Essence Reaver?
See, I still think people will. I think
That's right,
Varus
yeah.
will be somebody you build like Sivir, where you go Essence Reaver, and then you would go the Hurricane, and then your IE.
You lose
I
so much
think.
damage though.
No, but he's gonna be more focused on late game damage. It's kind of like Sivir. Like, okay, your early mid game and your mid game might not have as much damage as the old Varus. But that's part of when you're going like a crit build, and then especially the CDR build in conjunction with that. Essence Reaver is so good for CDR caster type 80 carries that want crit. Sivir, Varus, you can put Ashe in that category. It's so good on them. And especially with Varus, he has that utility with the slows from his E and his ulti. The CDR is awesome.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, but because that's all respective on one champion's kit, but we'll move on from there.
Okay.
Because you're basing 4 or 5 champions off of one kit.
No, I'm basing 4 or 5 champions off of Essence Reaver being strong on them. Hello? Like,
Hello?
right.
Anyway.
Anyway, okay.
Either way.
Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. So yeah, Warlord's Bloodlust is on the docket again.
Whoa! Lux voiceover expansion? I'm sorry.
Okay.
4 times as much to say with champion interactions.
And she's the most annoying champion in the game.
Hell
That's
yeah.
great.
Oh, she has like 6 different laughs, then they're all spammable. And magic damage shield. Why don't we follow the patch notes, alright?
Alright, my bad.
Because that's
Your
not
boy,
effective.
your boy patch notes does this in order, alright? So, moving on past the more important changes, we get to Warlords. So now instead, Warlords will restore health based on attack damage rather than granting lifesteal.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's nice. I mean, it's, rather than having to auto attack more, you instantly get the health back. And also, if the attack procs Warlord's Bloodlust critically strikes, the heal crits as well.
That's so
So get ready to see Vayne 100% pick band and solo duo queue for the rest of your lives.
And Yasuo.
And Yasuo.
Every auto's gonna crit. I still haven't played Yasuo.
Vayne is going to be
since it came out.
busted. Vayne and Twitch are going to be
Oh
insane.
god, Twitch.
Yeah.
I didn't
I think it's a good
of
change
that.
for it because that's the thing about the lifesteal is it's you take what you attacked with,
Pull it back.
and I do think it might get nerfed a little bit at some point, but basing it off of your attack damage, to where my Warlord's proc is up, but I'm gonna get before the change, it'd be I'm gonna get less damage, less healing back if I attack this full armor Rammus per se, as if I just attack a minion real quick, get a bunch of life back, and then go back to what I was doing. I think it's a really nice change to shift away from that into actually using it as a kiting tool and actually focusing on using it in the middle of a battle against other champions to just help you out that little extra mile with lifesteal.
Sweet.
Yo, question. What stops this from being broken on like Kindred or Callista?
They don't build a crit.
Callista build. They both build
Does
Hurricane.
Callista not build crit?
Well, they build Hurricane, but then they go Blade of the Ruin King. You don't go Infinity Edge.
Yeah, but you
yeah,
still go
there.
I guess that's true. Yeah. That's
I mean, Caitlyn's gonna be busted.
Because
But,
every headshot's anybody with a guaranteed crit.
Fiora?
Really interesting.
Oh my god!
Big fan.
Oh my god! I'm gonna face against Fioras now. Fuck me. Ugh.
Build crit Alawi.
Just Fiora,
Crit Alawi. Well, not so much now that she didn't have her animation cancel anymore.
the one that I never used.
Right.
So I think that's about it. I think we have like red buff got changed a little bit, but it doesn't really matter that much. Rotating game mode. Oh wait, we got something to talk about. Sebastian, are you streaming the patch notes?
I'm not streaming them, no.
Well, I guess the people aren't going to be able to see the. I'd like you guys to go look at the chromas for the skins. Look at the Meowkai one. They are so good.
And they look just like the Mukau Alistair ones.
But they're great. They're great
awesome.
skins.
Oh my god, the hoods have different faces on them.
Yes, they do.
The Meowkai ones?
Yeah, the Meowkais.
Even
they
the
all have
Dino
different
Nar ones are
faces.
pretty cool, Eric.
Dude, I'm definitely buying at least one Dino Narchroma once those comes out.
One?
At least
what
one.
kind of Narmane are you?
I said at least one. I still got money I gotta worry about.
Alright, guys. So, I think that just about does it, though. You guys got anything else?
Nah, not really. I'll have to talk about Varus not doing what Eric thinks he does, but beyond that, I think I'm okay.
So this is our first episode that was actually posted. We're looking to kind of see what you guys think of it. Improvements, whatever you guys want to see. We're hoping to do a Q&A section next time. Maybe like we take questions beforehand or something.
Or you can post your questions on the YouTube video, and then we can answer them the next time around.
Oh,
it's like that's how social media works.
Oh, I forgot again. I'm gonna add timestamps when we talk about stuff.
This one actually wasn't as bad. This is only 51 minutes.
There was less in the patch, to be fair.
Yeah, this is a short patch.
True.
But yeah, so let us know what you think. Yeah, you guys got anything else?
Yeah, no, I'm good. This has been Sebastian, the Light Pulse 94.
Eric Gnarls Barkley Jesky.
Greg 7 Adler.
Alright, we'll catch you on the next one, hopefully.